The challenge with agentic AI is because most enterprise leaders think about technology as being deterministic. You set if this, then that, this is the concrete set of rules applied to this database, go. Agentic AI, based on generative AI technologies, enables a different kind of decision making, a different kind of action taking. That's what agentic AI is all about. And to do that, you have to provide the same kind of context that you would provide to any team that you're running. A challenge and maybe a mistake that some leaders are making is thinking that this kind of technology is just a tool. And if I give it a very narrow context, it's going to be safe and effective. In fact, in many cases, it's the exact opposite. The more context you give it, the better it understands your overall goals and objectives, the better it understands the place you're navigating your boat toward in the parlance of the book, the more likely it is it's going to do the right thing at the right time in conjunction with the rest of your organization. But I began working on the project in mid-2025, just when the agentic AI thing was starting to become real, beyond just chatbots and prompts and into more autonomous systems. I started in prep for that summit, I actually put out an interview series of thought leaders and technologists and others that are working at the leading edge of agentic AI. As I was talking to these people and doing these interviews and then ultimately hosting the summit, I realized, wow, this is the driver, this is the inflection point, but this is the thing which has to force enterprise leaders to think about their core operating strategy and their strategy in general differently. Right? They have to be thinking differently. And this is how I can take 30 years of working in and with enterprises as a Gartner analyst, running market intelligence at Adobe, being a startup leader, almost entirely working with enterprise clients. Take all that experience and all those learnings and really rethink it in this new world of agentic AI. The most fundamental framework in the book is this notion of using agentic AI to retrofit the work you're doing. And that's really at the more tactical end. So make your processes and systems maybe faster or somewhat more efficient, but fundamentally do the work in the same way to achieve the same goal. Or at the other end of the spectrum is a reimagination of the work that you're doing, reimagining potentially how you're doing it, and even the goals that are possible to achieve using these new technologies and systems. And so obviously, the closer you get to the reimagination end of that spectrum, the more strategic, you might say, the questions become that you need to be thinking about. The solution today for an organization is not to say, we must reimagine everything. But I think in the longer run, differentiation in the market, competitive advantage is going to come from a reimagination. I'm reading a really interesting book right now by a guy named Brian Merchant called Blood on the Machine. It's about the Industrial Revolution and the Luddite movement. And people who hear the word Luddite think anti-technology activists. It's actually a very, very interesting analysis of the change that happened, particularly in the cloth and cotton industry in the late 1800s. Or early 1800s, sorry. And although at the time this was truly a revolutionary technology, which would have potentially and did have massive impact on employment in England in particular, at the end of the day, in the longer run, employment in England didn't drop down, or unemployment didn't spike up to 50%. England has its own economic challenges now, but fundamentally the cotton gin and these things didn't cause that to happen in the long run. In the short run, there was a lot of disruption.